evaluation of Lafayette Parish millages, revenues, and expenditures.
Thank you very much. Members, into our public, into our audience, before I turn the floor over, I just want to kind of give an overview of what's taking place here. As many of you all know, or you may not know, Lafayette Consolidated Government, as an umbrella, has a number of independent budgets that operate under it, including, for instance, the City of Lafayette, the Parish of Lafayette, LUS Fiber, to name a few. Former Chairman Castile identified and appointed a committee to look into the Lafayette Consolidated Government's Parish of Lafayette funding shortfalls and concerns. When I became chair in January, I met with Chairman Castile and asked that he co-chair the Finance Liaison Committee with me to continue to address this issue, also keeping his other two appointments on that team, namely Council Member from District 1, Kevin Nake, and Council Member from District 6, Bruce Conk. Just a few points that of clarity that I think is important. This is specifically about the Parish of Lafayette Consolidated Government's budget. This is not about the City of Lafayette or any other budget area. Also, Councilman Nakhan a couple of years ago appointed a Future Needs Committee. This is not the Future Needs Committee or a continuation of that work, but the report of the Future Needs Committee, as well as any and all other documents or information that could be used as a resource, will be considered by this committee, along with so many other things that can in fact be brought forward. So tonight, under this report, we have asked Council Member Conk to present us with a starting point and an overview of the Lafayette Parish property taxes in its evaluation. Mr. Conk.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This will be an evaluation, and the best way to describe it, it is what it is. This is without editorial comment. The data and the information which I'll be using has been mined from various sources, but primarily the Louisiana Bond Commission, the 2016 property tax notices, which we all received at the end of last year, and hopefully you've paid by now, and then the adopted budget for 2016 and 17. Overall, Lafayette Parish ranks 50th in the total parish millage out of 64 parishes in Louisiana. And this is from the 2015 Louisiana Bond Commission report for major population centers. So if you look at these major population centers, Bossier Parish would be Bossier City. Monroe is in Ouachita Parish. Shreveport in Caddo. In South Louisiana, which is the fastest growing section of the state, you have Gretna in Jefferson. You have Lake Charles in Calcasieu. East Baton Rouge is Baton Rouge. Orleans is New Orleans. And of course, Covington is in St. Tammany Parish. When we look at our property taxes for Lafayette Parish, this is the list of the tax authorities for our parish. The highest amount of property taxes which we pay as citizens of the parish is 33.56 mills, and that goes to the school board. Lafayette Consolidated Government, at least the parish side of Lafayette Consolidated Government, receives 22.8 or 20.75. And the difference there is that outside of the municipalities, we pay a little bit more, 3.05. For those of us who live inside the municipalities, we pay 1.52. However, if you live inside a municipality, one of the 6 in Lafayette Parish, you also pay a local general alimony tax. So that's why there's a difference in the amount of tax between the unincorporated area and the municipalities of the parish. So when you look at it in a graph form, you can see that of the total tax dollars that you pay in Lafayette Parish, 39% goes to the school board. Only 28%, less than a little bit more than a quarter of the property taxes that we pay actually go toward the operations of Lafayette Consolidated Government. And when you further break down these numbers with that 28% of the total property tax millage, with 22.28 going to the unincorporated area, and 20.75 to within the 6 municipalities, you can see the breakdown. Roads and bridges, drainage, courthouse and jail, these are all mandated costs that we have within the parish of Lafayette. Now, we must make note at this point that all the property taxes that we pay, except for general alimony, are dedicated property taxes. They cannot be used in any other source of funding. The exception, as I mentioned earlier, is the general alimony property tax, which is established by the state constitution, and this goes into the general fund. There has been no parish property tax increase in recent history. The millage rates, give or take a few points, pre-existed 1996 Lafayette consolidated government. There was one exception. The public health and mosquito control millage was amended in 2014 to include parish-wide animal control, but the millage stayed the same. Here's how we break down the Lafayette consolidated government parish property taxes. A couple of things to note in this list. Recent rain events have brought drainage to the headlines of just about every news organization in Lafayette Parish. But of the total property tax that we pay in Lafayette Parish, only 4% goes to drainage maintenance. We also had an opportunity last year to address the new property tax assessments for the parish, and when we do so, because of state law, we have to first roll back all of our millages so that we do not reflect an increase in revenue based on the new assessments. But then we have the opportunity to roll forward to take advantage of the increase in property values throughout the parish. And we did that in most cases. However, we did not adjust the millage rates to reflect an increase for detention and correctional facilities, the library, there are 3 property taxes there, the Lafayette Airport, and then LEDA had requested that we not roll forward on their taxes. All other parish property taxes were rolled forward. I'm going to look at 4 key funds that I think are a major concern moving forward. First of all, the roads and bridges. Keeping in mind that all of the deficit operations in these dedicated property taxes are going to be subsidized by the general fund or an available fund balance. And the best way to describe a fund balance, it's a piggy bank, a savings account, that in most every instance we have been able to draw from that piggy bank or from that savings account and cover our deficits up to and including this budget year. For example, the Road and Bridges Fund, we generate with the revenue from the dedicated property tax and other revenue, we bring in around $13 million. Our operations for this current year, a little above $15 million. We are at a deficit operation of $2 million for the current budget year. So what we have done, we've gone to the piggy bank and we pulled a couple of bucks out. And if you look at the fund balance for roads and bridges in 14-15 actual numbers, it was a little above $10.6 million. Well, in the subsequent years, we've drawn on that $9 million plus. So we have a fund balance of $1,335.89. Our deficit this year was $1,956. In future years, we cannot depend upon the fund balance to make up that difference. And the result will be we will have to go into the general fund to cover those shortfalls.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
Just keep going.
Oh, 1.3 million. Oh, sorry. No. We definitely will not have a fund balance then. Yeah. Drainage maintenance. As I said, a lot of people, it's the top of mind, but we only devote 4% of our property taxes to drainage. The 3.34 mills, with the help of some other revenue sources, brought in about $7.5 million this current fiscal year. Our operating budget and our capital improvements projects total 8.4. That left us with a deficit of $937,000. If you look back to 14-15, we had almost $13 million in that fund balance. We have drawn out over $12 million. So we have $908,443, which will go nowhere to covering the budget again. It's not as bad as the other one, but still, we have depleted our fund balance. These are areas of major concern. It's our correctional facility maintenance. That's our parish jail. 1.9 mills generates a revenue of a little above $4 million. Other revenues bring in a total of about $4.38 million. Operation expenses and capital improvements program for the jail around $8.5 million. So we have a deficit in the current budget year of over $4 million. This fund has not and does not have a fund balance. So the obvious question is, where is that deficit being covered? It's being covered from the Courthouse Maintenance Fund, and it's referred to in many different ways. Most of us refer to it as the courthouse complex, which includes the courthouse building itself and the parish jail. It's listed on our tax notices as courthouse maintenance. It's adequate to cover the expenses and the capital expenditures for the current fiscal year because the courthouse is an aging building. But while it's able to cover the $4.4 million, what we have done is we have transferred some monies from that fund to the jail, a little above $4 million. So the deficit operations now is 3.1. In 14-15, we had about $6.6 million. We have drawn out over $6 million since then. So now we have $630,000, or $631, that will be not near enough to cover a deficit if it repeats in the coming year. And in all probability, not only will it reoccur, it will probably increase. So looking at the parish operations general fund, the biggest drain on that fund at the moment is the jail. There is no fund balance. There's a 1.9 property millage, which is obviously inadequate to cover expenses. And the general fund subsidy in recent years has been $7.4 million. And in all probability, that will increase in the future. When you look at the courthouse complex millage, it is sufficient for the moment to cover operating expenses of the courthouse. But then when you throw in the transfer of funds to cover that shortfall in the jail, it's going to be completely depleted by the end of the fiscal year 2017-18. Our parish general fund has two primary sources of revenue. One is that general alimony tax that I mentioned earlier, and the other is a 1% sales tax in the unincorporated parish. 35% of the general fund comes from the 1-cent sales tax. Historically, that sales tax has been decreasing every year. The most recent factor has been because of our down economy. But the other factor is that over the years, the municipalities in Lafayette Parish, and there are 6 of us in the parish, have reached out and captured those areas that began to generate sales taxes. Anytime a municipality annexes an unincorporated part of the parish, they pick up the sales tax. The parish of Lafayette loses that source of sales tax. So reiterating what happens to the general fund, this year we have $12.7 million. It does subsidize fund shortfalls. In the current budget, there was a decrease of nearly $4 million from the previous budget. The projected ending fund balance is $61,000. This provides or proves to have financial pressure on the general fund to provide for just general governmental services. This year, the budget presented by the administration and approved by this council, we had a significant impact on the general fund in terms of providing for subsidies. Because of that, we had to cut back on the parish volunteer fire department's supplemental aid, and we cut 20% across all departments and divisions. We went even further. We terminated the parish contribution to the Cajun Dome. We terminated the external arts and culture and social services grants from Lafayette Parish's budget. We are going into a general fund ending balance at the end of this year projected to be around $61,000. If we take the subsidies that were expected from drainage, from roads and bridges, From the jail fund, from the courthouse complex, we're looking at $3 million deficit. There will be some other shortfalls that we'll have to cover. So we are looking at additional expenditures, additional reductions in expenditures that will be necessary in future fiscal years. So that's an evaluation. And as I said at the beginning, it is what it is. It's not a matter of interpretation. It is what you and I pay in parish property taxes and what your consolidated government pays to fund mandatory expenses and just general operational expenses for the parish. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Kunk. And we appreciate that presentation. As this group has been meeting, we felt that it was important to lay out in the simplest of terms the amount of money we are collecting, the amount of money we are spending, along with the expectation of the people. And also make people understand, I think we concluded that there was a general belief that when you think of taxes, that the government, as referred to as the municipal government, in this case the parish government, is the recipient of all the taxes that are paid and the control of all that is spent. And we felt it was important to present the chart to show all of the taxing bodies and to show the very small amount that the parish of Lafayette, under Lafayette Consolidated Government, controls. Mr. Castillo is the chairman of this particular committee. This was, again, something that he identified at the end of his chairman term on last year. Mr. Castillo, you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. Over the last 9 years, I've always said during budget time that it's time we start looking at our parish side of this budget, and especially these millages, because we were heading down the wrong road. And when this committee started meeting, we were talking, and we started actually breaking down and breaking out what LCG is responsible for. Out of all the millages that I pay in this parish, LCG controls 7 of them. That is it. 7 millages out of everything we pay. Just for instance, like for drainage, 4% of what you pay in taxes and property taxes a year goes to your drainage. 4% is nothing compared to what is asked for by the people, the work that they request. We have 3 drainage crews for the entire parish. 3 crews, that's it. We can't afford to hire contractors to go out and do the rest of the work. So, we get to what we can. With 4% of your millage that you're paying, you're not going to get much. And we're starting to see it, and we're starting to feel it, and the people are starting to feel it. And they don't like that feeling, and I don't like that feeling. We have a lot of things that we're going to be looking at. Fire protection in unincorporated areas. That's one area that has no funding source whatsoever, but it's a problem and it needs to be addressed. We have issues. Now, I'm talking strictly about parish only. No cities involved in this. No city of Lafayette, Broussard, Carencro, Scott. No cities. Strictly parish. The jail. I don't know if you noticed a slide on the jail. That's a scary thought. We cut the judges and the DA almost $4 million this year, $3 million. Can you imagine that? If we continue cutting them and the jail, well, then all those good people that we send to jail, they're going to be on the street because we won't be able to house them. We won't be able to prosecute them. It's time that we get serious about looking at this. We have people come up to this podium and they're saying that no more funding is not an excuse. Don't use that as an excuse anymore. Really? When you pay 4% of a drainage millage and you get up there and you tell me funding doesn't matter, funding is everything. That's how we operate. We operate on funding, on taxes. I'm a taxpayer. And I want to pay for my services. I don't want nothing for free. And I don't expect anyone else in this room to take anything for free. So this is something we're really going to look at, and I really, really encourage the rest of these council members to get involved in the conversation. We're going to be meeting once a week, trying to hammer this out, give the public a nice product and something to look at. We're going to be touring the parish. We're going to go to meetings. Everybody's going to have their say. And please get involved with this because it's coming. And if you think by voting against anything we bring is going to solve your problem today, I got news for you. You know, politicians don't like to talk negative, but I'm telling you, if we don't do something, you'll get nothing in return. And that's a fact. And that's the road we're headed down. Simple as that. We are running out of funding. Simple. I mean, can't make it any more plain than that. So, Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you, Mr. Conk and Mr. Nakan, for your time every week that we meet. It's going to be a tough few months ahead. Anyone in the public, if you have any ideas, any questions, please email us, call our office. We'd be glad to answer your questions. Our meetings will be public. They will be open to the public. You're more than welcome to come, listen, make your comments. And then at the end of the day, we're going to present you something, hopefully, that you can look at and understand, and hopefully we can bring it to you to vote on it at the end of the year. That's it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Castile, and just, want to thank you again. This all, of course, initially started under your chairmanship and certainly was well needed. And as we started to meet, I just want to end with this. Councilman Castile as well as Councilman Kunk mentioned the 4% on drainage maintenance. And the irony of that is, of course, the people, the residents in the community in and around the Youngsville area got hit really, really hard in this last water issue and with flood issues. And even the mayor of Youngsville himself made comments and challenged the consolidated government to do some things and said that there was some things that needed to be done on our part. And one of the things that I was reminded of before Youngsville happened this year, Karen Crow happened 2 years ago. And a lot of people, I think, kind of forgot. And then I started to have an appreciation because I said, well, Karen Crow got hit, and that's the north. Youngsville got hit, and that's the south. And to the furthest eastern portion of our parish, although it's not a town or a city, but the Derby Heights area, Coonville, and that area, Seafood Lane area, right at the parish line of St. Martin to the east, held water longer than anyone in this last flood event. And God forbid if we go to where the west begins in Scott and we have something of that detriment hits the west, and I certainly hope that that does not happen, but that would certainly complete the run. So 4%, these are facts. This is not made-up numbers. These are real numbers that this committee feels that the people need to look at and determine, do we want to do anything differently, or do we want to continue to literally drain down that same road? And those are the type of things that we'll be bringing forward, as Councilman Castile indicated. Nothing has been predetermined, and we welcome input and participation from any and all parties, because it's going to take a very collective effort to get some resolve to these matters. So again, I want to thank you, Mr. Kunk, for the presentation. I want to thank Mr. Castile for his vision to create this. I want to certainly thank Mr. Nakan for the parts that he has played thus far in his participation and everything that's going to go forward. Is there any council discussion on this matter or any blue cards? Okay. Again, thank you very much. We will now move to ordinances for final adoption. Again, this is a public hearing, and blue sheets are available for anyone wishing to address the council. The 5-minute rule is in effect. I would like to remind everyone that item number 7 has been deferred until February the 7th by request of the department to get everything finalized. Jeremy, could you please read item number 8?
Ordinance 2, 2017, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the Unified Development Code so as to rezone case number ZON 2016-41, 200 block of East Spring Street rezoning located generally north of Pansy Street, east of East Spring Street, south of Rose Street, and west of General Mouton Avenue from commercial heavy to residential mixed.
Motion by Mr. Nakan.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kong. Council discussion. Seeing none on any blue cards.
Yes, sir.
Please call the vote.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
District 9. Motion is approved. Ordinance 3, 2017, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the Unified Development Code so as to rezone case number ZON 2016-42, 6100 block of Johnson Street rezoning located generally east of Johnson Street, south of South City Parkway, and north of Cresslawn Drive from agriculture to commercial heavy.
Motion by Mr. Nakane. Second by Mr. Castillo. Council discussion. There is none. Any blue cards?
Yes, sir.
Please call the vote.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5, District 6,
Yes.
District 7, District 8, District 9, District 1.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 4, 2017, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the Unified Development Code and the official map of the City of Lafayette, providing for the annexation of additional land into the corporate limits of the City of Lafayette, Louisiana, case number ZON 2016-43, 314 Vivian Drive annexation, located generally on the corner south of Ambassador Caffrey Parkway and west of Vivian Drive, which is located within Lafayette City Parish Council District Number 9 for voting purposes, and assigning a zoning classification of commercial mixed.
Motion by Mr. Nakane. Second by Mr. Lewis. Council discussion. There is none. Any blue cards? Please call the vote.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 7, District 8, District 9, District 1,
Yes.
District 2. Motion is approved. Ordinance 5, 2017, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the Unified Development Code and the official map of the City of Lafayette, providing for the annexation of additional land into the corporate limits of the City of Lafayette, Louisiana, case number ZON 2016-44, 200 block of Oakside Alley annexation, located generally north of Oakside Alley, west of DeMette Road, and south of South Wark Drive, which is located within Lafayette City Parish Council District Number 8 for voting purposes, and assigning a zoning classification of residential single-family.
Motion by Nakane. Second by Abear. Council discussion. There is none. Blue cards? Please call the vote.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
District 9, District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 6, 2017, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the Unified Development Code and the official map of the City of Lafayette, providing for the annexation of additional land into the corporate limits of the City of Lafayette, Louisiana, case number ZON 2016-45, 729 East Broussard Road annexation, located generally north of East Broussard Road, east of Waverly Boulevard, and south of Catalpa Place, which is located within Lafayette City Parish Council District Number 8 for voting purposes, and assigning a zoning classification of commercial mixed.
Motion by Nakane. Second by Lewis. I'm sorry, Bellard. Make that Bellard, please. Get him on the books tonight. Council discussion. There is none. Blue cards. Please call the vote.
District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9? District 1?